So, in the past 7 months, I've been through quite a lot, but to top it all off, I've been almost killed in a very stupid and a rather violent robbery. I was here on my boat, well, inside the boat. Just came from a stand up comedy event that I enjoyed really a lot. Started preparing myself for basically to go to bed, just um, tried to find something to watch on my laptop, and suddenly I hear someone jumping on my boat. So the wood banks, I see a leg, a face appears through the door, says, "Do you remember me?" So to pause it there, basically saying, why did the guy think that I know him, was because this boat was previously owned by two young guys who are from Romania. They used to live here and work. They tried to actually get their, get some decent work around here in Netherlands and stuff. So one night, one of these guys was on the boat while the other one was working, and this Polish guy comes out of nowhere, starts asking him some questions, and proceeds to attack him. And then, obviously, this Polish guy was not really able to defend himself, ran away. The Romanian guy was not able to defend himself, so he ran away from the boat, and the Polish guy helped himself with all the stuff that they had that kind of was valuable enough, so mobile phones, chargers, few other things. So fast forward now to 3 weeks later, the Polish guy didn't know that these guys left the boat at the time that I'm a new person on it. So he thought that I will remember him. However, I have been informed about, I didn't know, the guy who sold me the boat was at that point living here alone because his friend did not just escape from the boat, but the very next night he also escaped back home, or ran back home. So yeah, I was informed that this happened, but I didn't know anything about this Polish guy. Not how does he look, nothing, how big, tall, anything. So all I had was some level of preparedness. Um, I didn't I didn't have any weapons. Pepper spray is illegal in Netherlands. Many things that you could use for self-defense in other countries are illegal here. So technically, I had nothing really legal to defend myself. I had a bit of a wooden stick, which was about 2 feet, so it's about 60 centimeters long, and I think about 2 centimeters or an inch thick. Made of quite decent wood, or at least it seemed so at the beginning. So that's what I had prepared at the hand's reach if anything does really happen. So, lo and behold, it does happen. As he was saying, "Do you remember me?" he starts pushing off the latch on top here, and he delivers the first punch. That's when I knew, okay, this shit is serious. That's not gonna go down easy. So I managed to push him, well, not push him, I grabbed his hand, pulled him inside, grabbed the stick, and started beating his hand because I couldn't actually reach him due to the ceiling. I couldn't reach him otherwise. So he pulls back, gives me enough space so I could get out of the inside of the boat, and we continued to fight here on the deck. So I did manage to get him with a stick here on the neck, and it was really a strong and good enough blow with all the skills, with this limited amount of skills of martial arts that I do have. But let's say clearly that I'm still alive. It means I'm not that bad of a fighter. He should be knocked out, but it was literally within 2 seconds he was trying to get back up. And that was my mistake because I could have had him with a little bit of more aggressive approach and ground and pound, as they call it in UFC. But I proceeded to go and trying to get him into submission, so that I would either make him stop fighting by twisting his joints and arms, or get him into a chokehold position where I could knock him out by choking. Well, not choking, but stopping his blood flow to his brains. However, this guy being really big, and at that moment I realized the strength that he has doesn't just come from the size of his body, and clearly being very good at jiu-jitsu, and he had some military training for sure, because his style was proper military self-defense. So then I understood that I'm actually in a very bad position, because the guy was clearly loaded on cocaine. Because within that struggle to get him into submission, he was fighting back, and I delivered a couple of heavy punches that should also knock out pretty much anyone. And no, nothing happened. It hurt him, but not anything enough for me to be able to finish that fight. So yeah, it went really nasty. Uh, at the back of the deck, I had a bottom part, really heavy, thick iron of a very old table, which was all rusty. And I was planning to clean up the rust and restore that thing, and then maybe sell it for some money. So during our struggle, he managed to grab that thing and swung it straight at my head. Luckily, he missed just a little bit, hit me here on the chest once, and then hit me here on the chest the second time. So I was very lucky that no injuries were sustained with that, but also extremely lucky that he didn't hit my head. At that moment, I kind of panicked, started to basically scream for help as well. He pretended, he faked that he was gonna leave the boat, jumped back on me, delivered another few punches into my head, got me by my neck, and at that point I was losing my balance, getting out of the position where I could grab myself anywhere. He was pushing me down inside the boat, choking, beating, like I got more than 20 punches here to the side of the head. Funny enough, yeah, you can't see anything anymore apart from a little bit here and a small scratch here, because my body clearly heals amazingly fast. But yeah, it was nasty, and for a week I could not really even walk properly because of all the chest pain pressing down. So it's kind of a bit like broken ribs, but luckily nothing was broken, but the pain is really close enough. So the experience I got with that was like, especially the night following that happened. So that happened at 11 o'clock. As he finally decided to run away, so panicked himself that he's gonna get caught or something, he was also screaming, "I will be back." So clearly the safety is not 100% guaranteed yet. But now I'm feeling okay. The first few nights after this were some of the most horrible nights I've ever experienced, in terms of feeling paranoid quite a bit and alert, to a point where I prepared, a few screwdrivers, knives and stuff, everything that is basically legal to have. Of course, I filed a police report, went to do the medical checkups, all the CT scans and the x-rays and stuff. Luckily, everything turned out all right. So it was just, at that point I kind of realized, at least to a certain extent, I had a taste of what it must feel like when you are a soldier that ends up with PTSD and tries to integrate back into a normal life. And I can tell you, all this is complete, utter nightmare. It's unbelievable. Every sound, every person coming too close that you don't recognize immediately, or I kid you not, really, everything made me jump and twitch for 5 to 6 days straight. And it took me quite a lot of effort on a personal level and just very deep down to try and face this and just work through every freaking possible scenario of what can happen. Is he gonna come with a Molotov cocktail? Is he gonna come with more of his buddies, if he has some? Um, is he gonna plan somewhat to attack me somewhere else from the back or whatever? I mean, like, it's just so many possibilities. This is a big city. It's a big place. It's not that easy to track this guy down. Clearly, the cops haven't done anything about it. So, you know, having been such a overthinker already all my life, even with learning to pause stuff and slow it down, you still under that kind of pressure, and with the PTSD that I've had since childhood and because of the childhood, it was a huge race against the darkness in this sense. So, and it kind of affected me in a sense that it literally changed some of my perspective about life and the worrying. So I would say, as much as it was scary as hell, it also gave me this real new level of appreciation of just being alive, of just being here every day, like waking up alive. I can go to sleep, and the last couple of nights, I kid you not, I can't identify the entrance point, but the rats somehow get onto the boat or inside the boat, and I felt one of them crawling on top of my face last night while I was asleep. So, uh, yeah, it does get me a little bit upset, I must admit, but it's nowhere near. So, yeah, getting almost killed gives you a very new perspective on life. I must say, I also had not exactly like a film flashing in front of your eyes, but when the guy was choking me, I really felt like I would just love to be able to hug anyone I really care about before I die. And it was a terrible experience, I must say. It's not nice. It's nice to learn and to know that what you appreciate the most are people you love and care about, and friends and stuff that really, when you're dying or going to die, nothing else matters more in life, really. Family, friends, children, deep shit, deep stuff, really. Um, and yeah, it gave me also totally new power to just say no to anything that does not actually align with my values and the way I see things and the way I feel them. Like, as in, let's say I wanted to have a healthy conversation with my ex-partner about things that happened and stuff, and how I understand that, let's say, at least in my humble opinion, that her narcissistic disorder is not exactly her own fault. That I understand that it's not everything that she does is totally intentional, and she doesn't have control over everything and stuff, but that I just, like, find it very difficult, because also, clearly, as it is within nature of this kind of people, is like there's loads of always hidden truths, manipulations, and just the kind of attitude and behavior and stuff that it's hard to accept, really. And as I was trying to get through all of these things, it keeps popping up more and more. It's like, what else I didn't know about you in your life? What else can happen? It was really difficult, but I found myself a lot quicker to stop my nervous responses and not even feel like I'm in a fight or flight mode, but that I just obviously clearly need to do the best thing, which is get away, walk away from that situation, walk away from that argument, and get back to the point where and if I can try to pick it up again from a more sensible perspective. But having seen the same pattern being repeated over and over again, it just clearly this had to finally come to a complete disillusionment that there is a genuine effort to correct mistakes and behavior. So this situation with getting almost killed has finally taught me to really say no when it's time to say no, and not wait for, I don't know, God knows how many more things to happen, and how more often you might end up getting hurt and in a cycle of hurting and hurting each other until things get better, if they ever do. And it's not about things getting better. Of course, it's us who get better, or we don't. It's not that I don't believe in people or that I don't believe in the ability of my own ex-partner, that she's capable of many wondrous things when it comes to self-reflection and correcting things, but sometimes the smallest ones are actually the most important. So having been through a lot of abuse and violence in childhood, in my past, I've already clearly learned a long time ago to forgive and to also be very grateful for the lessons and the negative experiences, because at the end of the day they do actually make you a lot stronger. They give you different perspectives. They teach you how to protect yourself from these all sorts of kind of different people and situations in life, because manipulations don't happen just necessarily in a relationship with an intimate partner. I was in a relationship years before with a girl for 3 years, but in between us there was a very manipulative friend who basically ruined our relationship just for the sake of trying to get to my own butthole. So yeah, there are people like that which are insanely manipulative and capable of unbelievable things to get what they want. So I've learned a lot already in the past, but I must say that it's a bit different when, I don't know, let's say if you go skydiving and you think, what happens if it fails? You splatter. I don't know, but you die, right? Or I don't know, you go on a sailboat and you think, if you faced a storm for the first time in your life and you go thinking, what happens? Yeah, well, yeah. But actually having faced someone that is so stupid and so broken that they would have gone as far as actually attempting to murder someone just to grab their phone and, I don't know, maybe a couple of other items that are here worth jack shit. That actually really changed my perspective on how I see people. Like, I didn't hurt the guy because I saw, at the moment when I got him with the stick, I saw fear in his eyes. I saw a human being that is afraid. However, that empathy alone at that very moment nearly cost me my life. It nearly cost me more than I can actually give. And it's like, hold on. That's a whole new level of the way I can see things and feel them and prepare for anything like that in the future. because it can happen anywhere, at your house, at your boat, at the street. Doesn't matter, just random. Nothing is 100% safe. No city is 100% safe. No job is 100% safe. Nothing. No relationship is 100% safe, even. And when shit does happen and you end up, for whatever reason, you end up in a situation like me where you've got nowhere to go, super hard to find income, especially, let's say, in the level of where you're expert at and stuff. It can really happen to anyone. I've been homeless before as a teenager, and I've spent time with older homeless people who shared their stories. The same thing. It was either a cheating partner, or there was obviously very often some alcoholism involved as well. But sooner or later, you realize that for the most part, large majority of homeless people were really not totally responsible themselves for what happened. However, they were responsible for not getting up and doing something to get out of that way of living. Because I've done that before, not once. And it's totally possible. Nothing is like limited to and nothing even defines you with what you've done in the past and who you are, and like everything is possible from any given moment onwards. And then sometimes not having lost everything, maybe even losing yourself, is actually the best possible quantum chance of anything can happen from here. I mean that in a good way as well. What I'm saying, when it comes to blindly trusting people and allowing them to enter my personal space and any of these things, or just simply anyone stepping on this boat that I'm not expecting, and if they get hurt, whether their intentions were good or not, I don't think it's actually going to be my fault. Because, it is my private, very personal, private property and space. So if you weren't invited, I think every owner has the right, and every person has the right to defend their property and their personal space. And this is all I have. So, having said that, I am extremely grateful to this Polish idiot that he has been so stupid to try this. Because one, I've learned that I can fight a much stronger and skillful guy than I am, and actually win the fight if I give myself a chance to win one. Or if I don't pause to look at them as human beings when they've done something so bad already to begin with, such as attempting to rob someone. So I should have been less forgiving to begin with. That was the biggest lesson. Second is that obviously I really appreciate the life, the value, the beauty of it, the small things, and this new power of decision making and really sticking up with it this time. So not crossing my own lines anymore. It's a good thing. Sounds crazy, but getting almost killed is a good thing in the end. Very good. And also, for anyone watching this out here, if you have any trouble, like either it's PTSD or anxiety or anything, if you're gonna keep living in a denial, regardless of how many other people around you you're gonna hurt, you're most importantly hurting yourself without even knowing it. Because sooner or later, if you don't deal with your issues, if you don't deal with yourself, if you don't deal with your darkness, acknowledge it, own it, and change something about it, at least the way you feel, the way you think, the way you say stuff, then it's gonna keep haunting you for the rest of the life. Never mind who you're gonna be with, what you do, where you go. And most importantly of all, remember, you keep hurting others, mostly unaware of how and with what. You're gonna do that to your kids? That is the most terrible thing you can actually do. So please, do yourself a favor. Free yourself of those demons that you have. It's hard work. It is. Very intensive. It requires full-on discipline. It requires a lot. But if you believe in yourself more and more every day, something good must happen and come out of all this. And that good is probably gonna be you. That's why it's good to own your shit. Yeah? I've been eating shit all my life and I'm super proud of it. Peace, y'all. Love ya.